you know, like he was like saying like along the lines of like, you know, you have the talent and, you know, your sound is incredible, this and that. And like, you know, you're doing like some really, really great things, but you have to be here. Like like if you have a certain level of talent, which you know, then eventually something is going to happen.
Yeah, check it out. I'm your host, Corey Cambridge. Yeah. Everybody tuning in, you invited. No matter what mood you in, get excited. Everybody love the music, let me tell you how they do it. Whether writer or an agent, let me tell you how they made it. You are now talking to a silent giant. Wanna walk in their shoes, silent giants. Wanna study they moves, silent giants. Wanna know what they do, silent giants. Silent giants, y'all. Welcome to the Silent Giants Podcast, a podcast highlighting the superstars behind your favorite superstars in creative industries. I'm your host, Corey Cambridge. To keep up with the latest on the show, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Silent Giants Podcast. To keep up with my life, music, and more, be sure to follow me as well at Corey Cambridge. Today on the show, we have a very special guest, my Virginia brother and saxophonist Jason Arce, the silent giant behind Blood Orange. In this episode, Jason talks about growing up in Virginia Beach, playing baseball with David Wright, how he learned to play saxophone, and how he teamed up with one of my favorite artists, Blood Orange. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the saxophonist, my Virginia brother, my friend, the silent giant, Jason Arce.
Boom, boom.
Yes, that's good.
Is that better?
It's good. That's really good.
There we go. Jason, what's up, man? Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks so much for having me. It's good to be here.
VA all day.
All day.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Right. Damn.
Last time I saw you was with Chalk at Rockwood.
Yeah, I was at Rockwood, and I saw you at Rock. Yeah.
Chalk Steve
Boone.
Yeah,
all the cats.
man.
With, Sam Reed.
Yeah.
Sam's band. Yeah.
Dog. Richmond has the best scene.
Richmond has a beautiful scene.
Beautiful scene, man. It's like people don't know.
It's missing a little jazz these days, but like the scene is great down there.
I mean, it's still you know what it is? Everyone there is a jazz musician now.
Everyone's a jazz musician, but nobody plays jazz anymore down there, which is kind of funny because some of the best players that I've ever heard are in Virginia.
Exactly. But also, do you think that I almost look at jazz like Latin?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's the origin of the musical language.
Yeah, it's kind of where R&B and everything kind of came from.
Everything came from, right? Same way as Latin. Like all the Romance languages came from Latin. But now you don't speak Latin.
No.
You know, like the game's gotten so evolved.
We should bring that back.
We should bring it back. I mean, look, I always say if I ever want to start a band again, the first thing I'll ask the musicians are, what do you like to play? And if they go, love jazz. Dude, you're in. Because you instantly can play anything. I could throw anything your way and you know how to play it.
Yeah, because there's like a certain complexity to like the harmony that makes you more adaptable to situations. Like I haven't been in a situation where I was really uncomfortable in a long time. And that's because I study jazz.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Exactly. And
like, I feel comfortable playing at like gospel churches. I feel cool playing like pop gigs. I feel cool like doing a bebop gig. Like I've played with a wide range of like different artists.
I mean, that's the common thread between any musical savant.
Sure.
You don't know, but that's also that's very heady music. You know, so if I threw you a 3-chord pop song, they really know how to funk it up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like something that simple, a jazz musician can be like, "Oh my God, this is cookies," and they're gonna make that shit sound flavorful.
Oh yeah.
Easily flavorful.
They're gonna add extensions on like every chord.
Nutty, and I don't even know what's going on. I just know this sounds way funky.
Oh yeah.
Like fresh. I wish I played an instrument like that. Like I wish I played like an instrument, understood music theory.
Get a piano, man. It's like you can see everything. Like,
yeah, but see, dude, did you not hear my my job history? I'd be hustling, man. That's something that when you were young, you have all that time. You're bored. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting no girls like that. You're hella nerdy. You like, yo, I'm just
living the dream in a whole new way. No degree required.
Dude, wait, if I had to tell you the jobs I've worked,
man.
Hold on, how many jobs have you worked? What are your jobs?
I don't even know the number that I've worked since I've been an adult.
Okay, in New York, how many jobs have you had?
That's really, really hard.
Name me some.
I was.
You know what we're gonna do?
I was actually a nanny. I watched Two Kids After School.
You're gonna name a job, and then I'm gonna name a job.
I was a nanny for Two Kids After School for like 2 years.
I was a live-in nanny in Greenwich, Connecticut for 1 year.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I went back to teaching. I was actually the music director at a summer camp a couple of years ago for just the whole like 2.5 month summer break.
I bagged catnip. Oh yeah. Bad catnip, looking like bandana over the face, scooping catnip.
I flipped sneakers.
I emceed in dance bar mitzvahs.
I waited tables.
I waited tables. I bartended and bar backed.
Me too. my actual like full-time job was actually a chef at a place in the Lower East Side. I actually got a gig as a chef from an event that I did. I got called from it.
I worked at a wine store.
I've acted in many commercials over the past 2.5, 3 years, and I'm about to join SAG.
I've acted in a commercial for NFL CBS Sunday.
Wow.
And I had 2 scenes.
I used to run room service for a hotel.
Now I gotta think. We're sitting at my former employer. I was. Oh, I forgot about this place, Alley.
Yeah.
I was a community manager.
Wow.
I also worked in pharmaceutical tech.
Oh, interesting.
Oh man, little dicks.
You had a very diverse
little
amount
dicks
of
and big
jobs.
egos. Yeah, it's range. It's
Yeah.
range.
See, most of my stuff is either like music, teaching, acting, or like restaurant stuff.
Right, like there's a focus.
Yeah, there's like, because I grew up like, my dad's a chef, so I grew up like in the restaurant business in a way. And then I studied music in college. And then I got into, I was actually kind of a child actor for a little bit when I was really young. But
Really?
My parents decided not to move me to New York when I was like 3 or 4 because I was getting scouted by like agents and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so they didn't want to move me to New York from Connecticut where I was born. And then I got into acting like kind of randomly, like probably a little over 3 years ago. This girl I was doing like I was bartending for a catering company, and this girl was like, "Oh, you have a really like ambiguous look. You would do really well, you know, with acting because they're looking for that. It's like popular right now." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll do it just for fun on the side." So I started doing it, and then within like a year, I booked like a huge commercial, and I was like, "Oh snap! Maybe this could be something kind of fun." And I actually enjoy it, so it's cool. I like it.
Where'd you live in? So you lived in Virginia, but in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I grew up in Virginia Beach. I moved there when I was 5.
Okay.
Yeah, my uncle was actually stationed down there, and my parents, you know, we went down to visit a few times, and they loved it. And they didn't like the school system in East Hartford, where I was from, so they decided that they wanted to move me down to Virginia Beach. So we moved down to like in the Dam Neck area, and I went to Ocean Lakes
Okay.
when I first moved to Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach, a very rich area in music.
Oh yeah,
Unbelievable.
There's a lot of cats from there.
Why do you think Virginia Beach is like such a hotbed for talent?
Diversity.
Describe it for folks that don't know. What's diversity like?
I think Virginia Beach is like, it's almost North Carolina. It's like maybe 30 to an hour drive from North Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's the South, but it's not like, people don't have a Southern accent when they talk down there. They don't have a twang or anything. It's not like Southern. But it's like, it's a really diverse scene because there's a lot of military bases. So there's a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds.
Right.
Like my high school, like most of my schools weren't like, I'm mixed actually. So I'm Hispanic and Armenian. So I'm like kind of Middle
Yeah, I was about to
Eastern
ask you.
Caribbean.
I was about to ask you.
Like, I never went to a school where it was like, oh, this is 90% white, or this is 90% African American, or this is like a Latino school. It was all like, it was always diverse. Like I went to school with like Indian kids and Asian kids and black and white and everything in between. And it was like, I never was like in a situation where I was like, oh, what's
Right.
that? No,
Right.
because I was always comfortable around every race because I was never taught anything else.
Right. The way the state is segmented musically is that you have like very big hip hop in the Tidewater area.
Oh yeah,
But then
there's a lot of producers are from down there.
Exactly.
like Timberland, Missy Elliott's from down there, Pharrell, like all those cats.
But that all came from the drug trade.
Yeah.
You know, like so that a lot of rappers, even they mentioned in songs from the 90s, are going through Virginia, Carolina all the time on the 95 trade.
Yeah,
and
95.
and Virginia Beach was like the Clips, prime example.
Yeah.
Like New York rappers living in Virginia.
Yeah.
They're like the quintessential story of
Teddy Riley and all those cats.
Teddy
They used to be, like,
Riley.
near in that area that used to produce. And Pharrell actually went to my high school.
Princess Anne.
Yeah.
Is that where you went?
I went to Princess Anne High School.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah. I never met Pharrell in person, but I really want to.
Me too.
But I think he's there.
dope.
I finished Princess Anne in 2002.
Okay.
And I think he finished in like
He's
the
98.
early 90s or something like that, or like 90 or
Oh
something.
yeah,
like that.
I think he was early 90s.
Yeah, if not 1990, I think.
Fun fact: did you know on the SWV remix of Human Nature? The S, the double, the U, V. Dun, 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 dun. But in the beginning of that record, that's Pharrell. That was like one of Pharrell's first big breaks.
Oh, really? I didn't
Actually,
know
that may be Pharrell's first vocal. Pharrell's first vocal.
Really?
The S, the double, the U, V. And I opened up for him at VCU for homecoming.
Crazy.
And I stopped him and was like, yo, is that you on the SWV record? And he was like, yo, how'd you know that? Yeah.
Wow. Because he was like one of the best drummers from what I heard, like back in the day. Like he was like playing quads and marching band. And there's
dude.
pictures of him at the school like playing quads, and he was a great drum set player. And his producing partner, Chad Hugo,
yeah.
from NERD, was apparently like this incredible saxophone player. And everybody used to tell me like, yo, yeah, that guy Chad used to be like the dopest saxophone player. Like he was a killing alto player, but I never heard him because they were like from before me. So I never got to hear him. I would love to hear like those cats like just play. Like
What was it like going to Princess Anne? Was it a big musical school, or was it like a normal school?
It was normal. It was more heavy on sports for sure though. We had a lot of really good athletes.
Yeah.
Doing football and basketball.
Women's basketball was dope there.
Women's basketball won a state title one of the years that I was there.
And my high school played Princess Anne in Monacan High School. When I was in high school, we played y'all in the state tournament. Crazy.
So anyway, I went to a Mets game last night, and it's funny because like when I go, like everyone has like the Mets jerseys on, and of David Wright.
Yeah,
and I played against him in high school.
He's from Virginia.
He's went to Hickory. We played against
Yes.
him in high school, like when I was like, I think I was like 15 or 16, and he was like a junior or senior. But we went to play. They came to play us at Princess Anne, and our coach was like, he warned us like, hey, there's this guy on the team. He's playing third base. He's getting scouted by like the majors. If he takes you deep, which is slang for if he hits a fucking home run for you, don't get depressed because he does it off of everybody. Well, but when we saw him, we knew like, oh, you shouldn't be here. Like this isn't fair. Like he like stole as many bases as I could, but he also was hitting a home run every game. There's 20 games in a season, and he hit 19 home runs.
Yeah, dog. He's like
so he was taking one deep every game. He hit 2 against us in the preseason.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into playing sax? Like, what's the story behind that?
So I was always really like just curious about different music. So I would go to the library and just like rent different CDs and just like listen to different random stuff. And I would check out my stepdad's CD collection and whatever my mom had, and then I started buying a lot myself. Whenever I had money, that's all I would buy. Like if I wasn't buying like baseball gear, I was buying CDs.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like I just wanted new music, and I was always trying to like get new stuff in my ear. And I was in choir for a few years, and for the girls, obviously.
Of course.
I mean, I like singing, but there was this Filipino girl that I thought was beautiful, and I wanted to marry her when I was in third grade. So.
Boys and girls chorus that ratio is always 70-30.
I know. Same with church. Anyway, so
amen.
So we were like, I did choir for a few years, and then in 7th grade, I gotta be honest, I'm not proud to say this, but I heard a couple records. One of them was Kenny G. I wanted to figure out I wanted to learn saxophone. I thought it was a cool sounding instrument. I had heard like a Duke Ellington record, and then like a Kenny G record, and then like something else from the library. Just kind of random stuff that I thought looked cool.
Yeah.
So I picked it up, put it in the CD player. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I want to learn how to play that. And then I remember like I was in like, I think I was in 8th or like 9th grade, and I had rented this like Duke Ellington Live at the Blue Note record, this random one that I haven't even seen lately. And there was this tenor saxophone solo by Paul Gonzalez. Who was like the lead tenor player in Duke Ellington's band for years. And I heard he was doing it, and I was like, holy fuck, what is he doing? I really want to figure that out, but I had no idea where to start. So I just like little by little, I tried to figure out and piece together what he was doing, and I kind of just like never stopped.
Wow. So you learned by yourself?
I learned by ear for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, because I didn't take lessons until I got to VCU when I was like 18.
You were grown.
I was grown, yeah. Yeah, I had my first like saxophone lesson when I was 18 by Marty Now, who was like he was the lead alto player in like the Navy Commodore's jazz big band. He's a great, unbelievable teacher and crazy good alto player. I mean, he can play anything that Bird or Phil Woods did, he can do like snap of a finger. Like it's just there. He's so great. He was one of my first like mentors, teachers. Like I still talk to him today.
So of course this is pre YouTube days where you could at least like look up a YouTube tutorial. Like how do you teach yourself how to play saxophone?
Headphones and a CD player. I would just figure out. I would listen to what I heard on the radio or like on a CD and just try and figure it out.
Man, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so how did you end up getting to VCU to play into the music department?
I guess like I was playing baseball and doing sports a lot, and then I realized that like, man, I'm probably not going to go pro as an athlete because I stopped growing.
You played David Wright.
I was like, he's fucking great. I'm shit. So actually I decided that like I was going to go pretty hard on music in college. So I was going to try and major in music. So I auditioned at a few schools, and I went to VCU and I auditioned for Skip Gales, who was my other like main teacher. I heard him practicing and I was like, holy shit, he sounds like one of the dudes from the albums that I was listening to. Like,
yeah,
what is he doing?
I mean, Richmond's an amazing musical town.
Oh, yeah.
How did that help shape and develop you as a performer and as an artist?
I think it's a really good balance of a lot of things. It's not overly competitive. Like it's more community based than it is competitive.
It's a great point.
So like I feel like up here it's a little more cutthroat.
For sure. It's
compared to there.
It's cutthroat in the subway.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like pushing out like old people get it. To
Back
get, like,
off,
ahead on the
grandma.
train, like get the fuck out of here.
And so why did you decide to make the move from Richmond to New York? Like what drove that decision?
I visited New York twice when I was younger. I came up here on like a high school trip when I was like a junior in high school, and I was like, man, there's something about this. One day I think I want to move here, like when I'm older. But I knew like I heard some guys play, and I was like, I'm not at that level. Like I had to be very like self-aware of my ability. Like I knew I would get there, but I wasn't there. And I didn't want to like come up here and not really know how to play and just get beat the fuck up and depressed about it.
Right.
So I went to Richmond, studied for a while, practiced a lot, did a lot of writing. And then like when I felt like I was in a good place, I took a year off after I graduated from VCU, and then I came up here to go to grad school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where'd you go to grad school?
I went to NYU from 2008 until 2010.
And how was your NYU experience?
It was okay. I learned a bit from like my private lessons were like really beneficial, I think.
Okay.
But if I'm going to be honest, I don't believe that those kind of schools are worth the price.
Right.
Because it's a degree that's not, it's such a wide variance of like, you know, what you can make in that profession.
Exactly.
Like I know guys that make, you know, $5,000 a year playing music. And I know guys who make 6 figures playing music. So it's like, well, there's no scale.
Right. And the degree won't.
The degree does nothing.
Right.
The degree didn't do anything.
Your
for me,
chops
honestly.
is what.
Like I had to be on the scene. I had to be like hanging out at sessions, going to gigs, playing gigs, like just really like threading yourself into the community. Like that's what it took. Like it didn't take me being in school. I could have moved up here and easily just like studied with those guys and gotten the same amount out of it.
Right, because I was going to say, did you get
debt for the rest of your life?
Coming for music here at NYU, network wise, put you in a better place.
It started to, but honestly, I don't play with that many guys from NYU that I went to school with. Even now, I don't. Like, I'm still friends with some of them, but like, even a lot of those guys, some of them don't even play anymore because they just were like, well, I got to pay student loans back. Like, I can't pay the bills playing $50 jazz gigs. Like, I got to do something else. Like
$50 jazz gigs in New York,
which
is a $10 jazz gig.
Most of those guys like have teaching gigs because it's just like, you don't make a living doing that.
Right. And so how did you break into, what was like a big like breakout moment for you in New York? It's like, as far as like your first big performance.
My first big performance came like a month and a half after I moved here, which was kind of weird. I was like, man, New York moves fucking fast. Holy shit.
Yeah.
No, I moved here and I was at NYU and the tour manager for Weezer went to NYU and he called the school looking for a couple horn players to play at Madison Square Garden that night. And I was in the right place at the right time, and I did the gig.
Whoa, what was that experience like?
Crazy. Like, it was like, here I am, like, they're like, hey, you interested in doing it? And I was like, fuck yeah, I love Weezer. Like, I grew up listening to, like, the fucking Blue album. Like, that's my favorite shit. Like, My Name is Jonas is, like, one of my favorite songs of like, all time. Like, it's great. So I was just like, I jumped at the opportunity. I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I got it. I'll take it. So I did it. So, like, 4 hours later, I took a train to Penn Station and went to Madison Square Garden, played the gig. Like, there wasn't really much of a sound check. We like got there. There was like, went into this dressing room and we were all just hanging out. And then like, they all walk in and like, they're like, hey guys, let's just run through what we're going to do on stage. And we're like, all right, cool. So like the drummer like starts patting on his legs and then they start like humming the song and we like start playing the horn parts we're going to play that we kind of came up with. And they were like, all right, cool. Sounds good. See you out there. And that was it.
Wow.
That was it.
And so what was it like being in like Madison Square Garden? Mind you, this is your first month.
Unreal.
In New York City.
Within 2 months, I was at the Garden. But like the next week I was playing for like 5 people at a dive bar in the East Village, so it didn't matter. It was like, came down crashing quick.
And so you've also done work with Adele as well?
Yeah, I did a video shoot for Chasing Pavement, and I played clarinet for like this orchestral arrangement of the song. And we did a video shoot. I actually got that gig through one of the casting directors that I know, because she was casting the musicians for the shoot, and she called me. She was like, hey, you play clarinet too, right? Not just saxophone? And I was like, yeah, I play clarinet and a little bit of flute. And she was like, oh, great, I'm going to submit you for this project. I think you'd be great for it. And then she submitted me, and the director liked me, and then that was it. And I got called, and they sent me to the shoot.
Wow. And so wait, how'd you pick up clarinet? Isn't clarinet known as the most beautiful instrument, by the way?
I don't know.
I think it's.
I've never heard that.
I think it's the most beautiful sounding instrument.
I think bass clarinet is. I don't know about regular clarinet, but I love bass clarinet.
Okay, maybe I think clarinet's involved in it.
Yeah, bass clarinet. You probably like bass clarinet. It's like low and like it's like the cello of the woodwind family.
Man, that's some sexy shit.
It's sexy as fuck,
dog.
But it was just kind of like a random thing. Like it was like, because most of my gigs like that I've done, I've auditioned like for 2 music gigs ever. And I've auditioned for every acting gig I've ever gotten. The networking thing is the most important in the music scene.
Oh, I mean,
because there's a lack of auditioning. It's
right.
just like,
right.
You know this person, they can vouch for you, you're good to go.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's very much, it's just like any job. Like once I learned that the music industry and the music community, no matter where you are, is very incestuous. I
mean, that's what happened with the Joe Jonas DNCE thing and with the Blood Orange thing. I didn't audition for any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I just got recommended for it.
How did Blood Orange come about?
Blood Orange came about, I think it was a little over 3 years ago, I want to say.
Okay.
One of my best friends, DJ Ginyard, he's one of the greatest bass players that you'll ever hear. He plays bass for Blood Orange, and he used to play for like Solange, and he still plays with Terrence Blanchard and some other people.
Okay.
So I met, I had been friends with DJ for a while, and I had played on his album, and DJ, the bass player from the band, and he's amazing, and he's like the greatest dude. And he was working on Cupid Deluxe, the Blood Orange album that Dev was working on, and DJ called me one day. He was like, "Hey man, you around next week?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in town. What's up?" And he was like, "The guy that that guy Dev that I played with Solange's band with, he's doing an album. He's looking for some sax. I thought you'd be good for it. Like your style would kind of fit what he's kind of going for." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So he was like, "What are you doing?" Like, I forgot what day. I think it was like a Tuesday or like a Wednesday. It was at Lounge at Walter's spot. He was like, "Yeah, bring a couple horns and we'll kind of like just do a session and hang out and see what we come up with." I was like, "Great." So we had worked on what's it? We had worked on Chamake and we worked on Chosen, I believe.
Okay.
You know Adam Bainbridge, the guy that does Kindness?
Yes.
So I met Adam that day too. So he was like, him and Dev are really close and they're both really cool dudes. And Adam had kind of come up with this like the intro for Chosen, but it was all like MIDI instruments. And I based like, he kind of like sketched out what he wanted. And I just kind of made that thing into like a saxophone quartet thing. So it was like 2 altos and 2 tenors. So that's what you're hearing on the beginning of Chosen.
Okay.
It's just like me like playing like 3 or 4 different parts on like 4 different takes, and then just kind of like stacked them on and made it sound cool because Blue's amazing.
Dude, Blue is
he's the man. He's so good.
The man.
He's like the coolest dude. Like, but that was like Adam kind of wrote the beginning of Chosen, and then like I laid a saxophone solo in the middle of it, and we had a really fun time in the studio. So we just like kind of kept making music. And then Dev's manager had hit me up and was like, "Hey, are you interested in doing any of this stuff live? Dev really likes you, and we think it'd be good to have you in the band." I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to." So that's just kind of how it came about. Like I didn't audition. It was just like, "Hey, DJ thinks you're DJ thinks you're a good fit," and the session went really well. And then we ended up recording Uncle Ace after that.
Okay.
We ended up recording Uncle Ace, and then I ended up doing horns on one of Adam's songs on Kindness. The last Kindness record he did. There was a song called Eighth Wonder that we worked on. It's a really cool tune, and I did the sax parts on that song too. And that's kind of how I got introduced to those guys.
And so, what's next for you? What's going on in your life right now? What are you working on currently?
I just finished doing horns for the new album, the new Blood Orange album.
Okay.
And I worked on, earlier this year, I worked on the new Porches album a little bit. And I'm working on my stuff currently, and I've been producing some other artists a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Just trying to write to get my stuff done. I'm working on having like, the idea is to put out, well, the goal is to put out 2 albums by the end of the year.
Yeah.
One's going to be like a jazz record, like my instrumental stuff. And then the other one's going to be like me singing and like playing guitar and keys and stuff.
Okay.
And the stuff that my songwriter stuff.
Do you think that being in New York as a sax player has given, there's always the live show performance, but there's also like the session aspect of musicianship. Is that open more opportunities here in New York than in Richmond?
I think it opens about this. I mean, I wouldn't say more or less, but I think it definitely opens up doors in a new way. And I like the studio thing. I really dig because it exposes your flaws in a really like honest way.
Okay.
Like if you're just a little out of tune, that mic is going to amplify it.
Or Blue could patch it up.
Yeah, Blue could do that.
or that too.
Blue auto-tunes on my saxophone because I can't play.
T-Pain sax.
Oh my gosh, that would be kind of dope.
That'd be kind of ill.
But he can actually sing though.
Right.
He's so dope. Gosh, I fucking hate how good he is.
I love T-Pain.
I didn't realize he could sing like that until I saw that tiny desk, and I was like, oh shit,
dude. You know what? It's not even the singing. Yeah. To me, it's just I was already impressed by how he can stack harmonies. Like the way he puts his harmonies together,
It's impressive.
It's incredible. Auto-tune or not, to me, I was already like, yo, you definitely are gifted.
Yeah, he's still a gifted producer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
he knows his shit.
and so what advice do you have for future musicians? I think that like one thing I'm really impressed by is that you're taking your musicianship in alternative directions. You know, you're very versatile. You can, whether it's live or whether it's on record. What advice do you have for aspiring musicians looking to break into the industry?
Patience. Patience is the first thing I would say. It's a lot of things in life aren't going to happen on your timeline. I figured, I'd come up here, go to school, make the right connections. I'd be cool to like, I'd be gigging and doing the thing, but I wasn't. Like, it took time. Like, you have to be here. You have to spend time here. You have to like put in your time and you pay your dues.
Yeah.
I paid my dues twice. I paid my dues in Richmond and I paid them up here. But like, if you just stick with it, I'll never forget this. I was at Smalls Jazz Club one night in the West Village, and one of my favorite saxophone players, Greg Tardy, was he had just played a set, and I went for the jam session and ended up playing a couple songs at the session. And at that point, honestly, I was kind of discouraged with everything because I just wasn't gigging that much, and I felt like I was pretty decent, and I was like, why am I not working? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not like, I got like no gigs, like struggling to pay the bills. And then like, I ended up hanging out with Greg Tardy, and we ended up walking to the train together and talking for a little while. And he was like the sweetest, most like humble guy. And I was like, man, this is like Greg Tardy, one of the guys that I've like listened to for years. And he's like the coolest guy. And he was just like, he was talking about like, being in New York, and it was basically a lesson in patience. Like, like he was like saying like along the lines of like, you have the talent, and your sound is incredible, this and that, and like you're doing like some really, really great things, but you have to be here. Like if you have a certain level of talent, which then eventually something is going to happen, but it's not going to be on your timeline.
Right.
And I heard him, but I didn't know how long it would take.
Right.
So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to keep sticking it out. Because, you have like those low points when you're like, man, I'm not working at all. I have no gigs. I'm not doing any sessions. There's no wedding gigs right now. Like, how the fuck am I going to keep food in the fridge?
Right.
Like, but you just have to stick it out. There's no like you have to just do it. If not, you're just going to quit and you're just going to do something else. And that's fine. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. It's not for everyone. It's not an easy lifestyle.
No.
It can be really shitty.
Very shitty.
It can be very shitty, especially, yeah, it's like, but now like things have been like the past like 2.5, 3 years, things have been really good.
Is there any business advice or any mistakes you've made along the way as far as like money wise, maybe as far as from getting gigs, or that any advice that you would have?
I would just say to like realize your worth and be honest about it from the get-go, and get a lawyer. If you can, like...
Do you have a lawyer now?
Yeah. Especially starting out, you have to be your own everything.
So, wait, hold on. Is it more important to be a talented person or to be a kind of talented person who knows the business?
Kind of talented, knows the business.
Knows the business.
Because you can take advantage of less.
Exactly.
Because you'll know what you're doing and you'll know what things mean.
Exactly.
Versus like if you're just a really talented dude and like you ended up getting some crazy gig, you can get taken advantage of.
You can get got.
Totally.
Get got 100%.
Oh, yeah. And, people will try to undercut you all the time. People will take advantage of anything they can. Because, like, if you're looking at this from, like, just the straight up, like, logistical getting paid standpoint, like, I know friends who have had, like, huge gigs, like, huge pop star gigs, and they decided to fire the horn section or just get rid of the horns or get rid of the BGs for whatever reason. Like, get rid of 3 or 4 players in the band. Like, from like one of the biggest artists in the world, just because they didn't want to pay him anymore.
But so before going on a tour, is this all contractual before you go on the tour?
Sometimes. I haven't had a whole lot of problems, honestly. I've been with as far as touring, I've had a really good experience.
Yeah.
From what people that I worked with. But the whole like they just cut them for no reason. Because if the manager can convince the artist they don't need them, that means, say, you know, they're gonna pay $100,000 to bring out a horn section for the summer for like a major tour, for, you know, flights, hotels, per diems, pay, all that stuff. Say round figure $100,000. If they can convince the artist that they don't need that, then that $100,000 goes into what the artist makes.
Right.
And if the manager's just getting their 15-20%,
right,
they just got 20 grand because they got somebody fired.
So typically before you go,
Yeah.
when you get called for a tour,
Yeah.
like what is the normal protocol for a musician? Is it paid by gig? Is it contractual? Like what is the parameters around that?
There's two ways that it's usually done. It's usually like, hey, we're going to pay you this a week, or you're going to get paid this per show. And then you kind of like add it up depending, like, hey, we're going to do like I used to play keys for this Christian band from Richmond. And like when we would go out, like, hey, you're going to, you know, everybody in the band, we're going to make this much. Like, say you're going to make
$300. Let's say
you're going to make $1,000 a week plus expenses.
Okay.
You're going to be out for 2.5 weeks. Cool. Done deal. We know how much we're getting. There's no discrepancies. I mean, there's no discrepancies either way. It's either like, hey, we're going to pay you like $1,000 a week, or if it's just like a bunch of one-offs, which we do that. I do that sometimes with some artists. We do like one-off shows. Like we'll do a gig, come back, or like a private gig or something, come back, or like with a wedding company.
Right.
Like, hey, you're going to get paid this for this gig, or you're going to get paid for this gig. Like you're going to make, you know, you're going to make $700, but you're going to get paid a little extra for travel, and you're going to get your per diems and everything else will be taken care of. So it could be like, hey, you're going to get paid by the gig, or you're going to get paid like by the weekly.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've heard somewhere it's like you get paid like a lump sum. Like they'll tell you, hey, we're going to need you for these dates on retainer. You can't take any other gigs because you're on call for us. We're going to pay you this amount of dollars, so block off your June, July, August.
Right.
It could be that too.
Jason, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Much love.
Cool.
VA all day.
All day.
Can't stop, won't stop, baby.
Can't stop, won't stop.